What's up, guys? It's Dono. This week, I'm here to talk to you about how to overcome writer's block. Writer's block can be extremely frustrating. It can freeze you in your tracks, and if you've been stuck with writer's block for a long time, it can demotivate you and kind of ruin your whole writing experience. So let's get into a couple ways that you can overcome writer's block. The first one is to listen to music or read something that inspires you. Chances are, if you're an artist, you have, a couple go-to pieces that every time you read them or listen to them, they pluck a string with you. You feel something inside. A lot of times, that's all it takes to really jumpstart your creative juices and motivation and get you back into the game. Another thing is when you're rereading these pieces, you probably already have taken a lot of influence from them. So when you go through them again, you may find an idea or concept that helps you finish out whatever you're working on. In the same vein, you can also reread and go back through some of your older work. This will help you in two ways. First, it's going to show you that, it's not always perfect. You're probably going to come up with some errors, some odds and ends, some problems, because a lot of times writer's block comes from perfectionism. So if you think that it's not 100% perfect, you're not willing to keep working on it, you don't think you get the right word. But if you look back, you created other things that weren't perfect. And that's fine. That's okay. That's part of the process. The second thing it does is show you that you can do it. You've done it before. You've already created other things. So if you're feeling demotivated, like, I just can't come up with anything to write, you've already done it. So reread your old work and see that it's possible. You can do it. The next idea that I have is stop trying to force whatever you're working on currently and just work on something else. You can always come back to your original project later. You can always work on it at another time. Just start working on something else. And another thing to kind of go along with that is just start getting words out. It doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't matter if it's terrible. You may start on a new project and you may find, oh, this is not that good. But you may also find, oh my gosh, like this is a different project that I want to put a full effort into. Or you may be writing it and be struck with some inspiration from your first project and go back like, oh, now I know how to finish it. The very worst case scenario is you end up with something that's not good at all. And you have two options there. You can just edit it or you can get rid of it. It doesn't matter. You just need to break the spell of writer's block and get back into things. Now, here's another idea. It's to meditate. Or if you don't quite have a grasp on what meditation is, it's essentially just taking a step back. Turn off your phone, your computer, turn off all your stuff, step away, go somewhere else, find a nice quiet space, close your eyes, and just breathe for a few minutes. Don't let the frustration build up and beat you. Just wait. Take a few breaths and relax. If this isn't a process you've done before, you'll be amazed at how well your brain can work when you just cut off all the other distractions and just think for a minute. Another thing that it'll do is help dispel some of the built-up frustration and anger, and in a more calm state, you're more likely to be able to get your ideas out coherently. One more idea is to just imagine the finished project. So if you don't quite know what it's supposed to look like yet, it might help you to take a few minutes to kind of just visualize either how it's going to feel when it's finished or kind of what the project will look like when it's done. Because if you have an overall idea of what the project needs to look like, and let's say you've only written the beginning, then you know kind of what you need to fill in to get to the end. And by knowing that, it'll help you break down the process into smaller steps so that you can start building through those steps. Another thing that you can do is set a deadline. So for me, this works wonders. If I don't have a deadline, I don't get anything done. Having a deadline kind of gives you enough pressure that you'll actually work on it. It gives you a time frame so you know that you have to get it done. However, a lot of people get just more nervous and have more problems with deadlines. So only use this if you think it's going to help you, because setting 2, 3, 4 deadlines for yourself and missing all of them will just crush your motivation and probably make it worse just because your mindset is going backward. You've lost like some of the momentum. So only set up a deadline if you think it's going to help you. Another thing that a deadline can do is, if you're very serious about it, setting a deadline for any project, you just make anything by this point, that'll be awesome. That's good because it'll force you to write something. Even if it's not good, it'll force you to start writing. Another thing you can try is to just go to a new area. So if you always write in the same place, like for example, I usually find my desk and write there. Something that can help, break up the ideas, start something fresh and new is to just move somewhere else and then write. So, like for me, for example, if I got up and went to the library and found a place at the library to try and write, that would help, change things up. Because by default, just by leaving the location that you're usually in, your thoughts start to change. You're in a different mindset. You have a different thought pattern emerging, and that can help with the creative process and help you come up with something to help break that writer's block. Another thing to look at is alternatives. I know that I said like having a plan can help, and it can, but another thing that you need to consider is if the project isn't coming out exactly how you want, exactly how you imagined, but you have other ideas, you need to give those ideas space to breathe and maybe follow them to see where they go. Because very rarely do you think of something, a project, an idea, have it in mind, and it comes out exactly as you imagined. A lot of times through the process it changes, either through little tweaks or maybe major tweaks, but you need to be open to the possibility of alternatives being presented. And the last thing, I know I've said this several times throughout these videos, but you need to just consider why you're writing. Take a look at your work and just think about, are you writing for yourself? Are you writing for someone else? For a contest? For a project? You need to just take a minute and figure out why you're writing. This can help break up the mental blocks, and it can also show you, is this project really something that you need to do? Is this really a project that you want to work on? It's something to consider. Anyway, that's all I've got for this time. Again, I wanted to show you guys that I got some t-shirts. They say ask me to freestyle across the front. I got those for sale at the store. I've heard that they're kind of useful for, getting people to ask you to freestyle so that you can do it in public and get some practice. I also have a music website, noteis.us. If you make music, please put it on there so that we can promote you and get your music out there. As always, you're more than welcome to add me on Facebook. I'll leave a little link down in the description box. You can ask me questions on there, or you can put them in the comment box. I check my Facebook about like once a week, go through and answer all the questions. Anyway, peace. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on the videos. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, put them down in the comment box and I'll get to them as quick as possible. See you guys. I'll catch you guys next time.